In a sunny land, there was a village. A grand palace stood near this village. The king lived in the palace. He was a good king and his people were happy. Children played in the streets. Birds sang sweet songs in the green trees. Life was peaceful and calm there. The palace walls were strong and tall. They kept everyone safe inside. The king had a kind heart and a loving family. The king had a dog named Sultan. Sultan was a very loyal dog. He had served the king for many long years. He was brave and always watchful. In his younger days, Sultan was strong. He played with the king's children in the gardens. He guarded the palace gates faithfully. The king loved Sultan very much then. Sultan was like a member of the royal family. He ate good food and slept in a warm place, but time passes for all creatures. Sultan grew old. His fur turned grey. His legs were not as quick as before. His eyes did not see as clearly. He could not run and jump like he used to. He spent many hours sleeping in the sun. The king watched Sultan grow old. A shadow of sadness crossed the king's face. He thought he needed a younger, stronger dog to guard. The king made a very difficult decision. One morning, the king led Sultan away from the palace. They walked deep into the quiet forest. The trees stood tall and dark around them. "You can rest here now, my old friend," the king said softly. Sultan wagged his tail slowly, not understanding. The king turned and walked back to the palace. He did not look back at his faithful dog. Sultan was left all alone in the big forest. His heart was heavy with sadness. He missed his home and the king's gentle hand. Sultan sat alone under a large oak tree. Tears welled up in his old, kind eyes. The forest felt cold and strange to him. He remembered the warm fires of the palace. He remembered the laughter of the king's children. Why had the king left him here? He had always been a loyal and true friend. His heart ached with a deep sorrow. He lifted his head and howled a long, sad cry. The rustling leaves seemed to whisper sadly with him. Suddenly Sultan heard a small sound in the bushes. A little fox with bright, clever eyes stepped out. The fox saw the old dog sitting there looking so forlorn. "Good day, old dog," said the fox in a soft voice. "Why do you sit here looking so very unhappy?" Sultan was surprised to hear someone speak. He had thought he was completely alone. He wiped a tear from his furry cheek with his paw. He looked at the fox with weary eyes. Sultan told the fox his sad tale. He spoke of his happy days in the king's palace. He told of his many years of loyal service. He explained how the king had brought him to the forest and how he had been left there all alone. "I may be old," Sultan said, his voice trembling, "but my heart is still full of loyalty for my king. I wish I could show him I am still useful." The fox listened patiently, its head tilted to one side. It nodded slowly, understanding the old dog's pain. The fox was known in the woods for its sharp mind. It thought for a little while, its whiskers twitching, then a twinkle appeared in its clever eyes. "My friend," the fox said kindly to Sultan, "do not despair. I believe I can help you. I have thought of a plan, a very clever plan. It will show your king your true bravery and worth. You must be courageous and trust me completely." Sultan's ears lifted a little. A tiny spark of hope ignited in his old heart. "Listen carefully, friend Sultan," the fox began, its voice low. "This is my plan. The king often takes his young child. They walk together near the edge of this very forest. I will hide myself among the bushes there. When I see them passing by, I will act. I will gently snatch the little child. Then I shall run quickly into the woods. Do not worry, for I will not harm the child at all. It is only a trick, a part of our clever show." The fox then explained Sultan's important role. "You, my brave Sultan, will be hiding close by," it said. "When you hear the king cry out in alarm, you must run. You will chase after me with all your remaining strength. You must bark as loudly as you possibly can. You will pretend to fight me with great fierceness. Then you will rescue the child from me. You will carry the child gently back to the king. This act will surely prove your undying loyalty and courage." The very next day, the sun shone brightly. The king, as usual, went for a walk with his small child. The little one chattered happily, holding the king's hand. They walked along the path near the forest's edge. The clever fox was hidden, watching and waiting. Sultan was also nearby, his old heart pounding in his chest. He was nervous, but he was also very determined. He knew this was his only chance. He focused, waiting for the fox's signal to begin. Suddenly, the fox darted from its hiding place. It gently took the surprised child by its clothes. The child let out a little cry, more startled than hurt. The king gasped. his face filled with terror. "My child! Oh, my dear child!" he shouted in panic. At that very moment, Sultan sprang forward. He barked with all the power in his old lungs. He chased the fox deep into the trees. The fox, playing its part, pretended to be frightened and ran. Sultan soon caught the fox and gently took the child, carrying it back to the amazed king. The king could hardly believe his eyes. He rushed forward and took his child into his arms. He held the little one close, his heart still racing. Then he looked at Sultan with wonder and gratitude. He saw the old dog, panting but standing proud. He saw the courage still shining in Sultan's loyal eyes. The king remembered all the years of faithful service. A wave of shame washed over him for his cruel decision. He realized how deeply wrong he had been. The king understood his grave mistake at last. He saw that true loyalty does not diminish with age. Sultan's heart, though in an old body, was still young and true. The brave dog had risked what little strength he had. He had done it to save the king's precious child. A tear of regret trickled down the king's cheek. He knelt beside the tired but happy Sultan. "Forgive me, my faithful friend," the king whispered. "I was a fool to cast you aside. You are a true hero." The king led Sultan back to the grand palace that very day. He called all his courtiers and servants together. He told them of Sultan's bravery and the clever fox's help. Sultan was declared a hero of the kingdom. The old dog was given the finest, softest bed. It was placed right beside the king's own warm fireplace. He ate the best food from the king's table. The king's child would often play gently with Sultan. Sultan was happy once more, his tail wagging gently. Sultan lived out the rest of his days in great comfort. He was surrounded by love and respect. The king never again forgot the important lesson. He learned that true loyalty is a treasure beyond price. It is a bond that age cannot weaken or destroy. The tale of Sultan, the loyal old dog, and the wise fox, it was told for many generations in that kingdom. It reminded everyone to cherish their faithful friends, and Sultan, the brave hero, knew he was truly loved until his very end.